All right, guys. I wanted to go a little bit over dice rolling, and right now I know that Scott and Jay played around with it. Chris and Pat and Wiz probably just end up where I have it preset. I know that there's been a little confusion over, like with Wiz when he rolls a fireball, and we have to check and see if he rolled any ones. A lot of times on his screen, because he has his 3D dice on, he'll see a handful of ones but when we review it in the chat menu, there's no ones that appear down there, and it gets a little confusing. But it's because we have it set to roll the damage dice and the critical damage dice all at one time. So there could be, instead of 60, 12, or 66, there's 12. So there might be a couple ones in there that aren't registered as the main damage. But I'll show you that when we get there. So anyways, I'm going to turn on 3D dice because I like to see them go. So I'm going to go over to the gear. I'm going to turn on the enable 3D dice. Now its default function is this. When I click on Grasm and I make a Warhammer attack, it's going to ask me to drag. You can hear it roll a little bucket when I drag across the screen, so it'll shoot the dice in the direction I dragged. That's kind of cool, but it's a little extra bit of a click. If I click the next one down, so I have enable 3D dice, then I enable 3D automatically roll 3D dice over here on the right side. Now when he makes his attack, there we go. So why it's shooting all those dice is because we've always defaulted. I'm going to go back to the chat menu. We're defaulting for him to roll 2d20, so we can use either normal, which is always on the left, advantage or disadvantage based on which is the high or low dice. So, 13 is his original roll, 19 is his extra dice. So if he was running advantage, we'd use the 19, disadvantage, we'd use the 13. But that's all adjustable. And down here is damage. You can see he rolled a 3, he rolled a 2, and he rolled an 8 on D8. But on the screen, you can see there's a lot more. There's 2D8s, 2D6. There's multiple dice because it's rolling all the damage possible in case it was a critical hit. It's done to save time, but I don't know how cool or not cool it is. I've recently, as you guys have seen, Wiz probably only sees it because he's the only one with 3D dice done. But with the monsters, I've only been firing single dice unless they got advantage, and then or disadvantage, and then normal damage without the extra stuff firing. But again, Wiz is probably the only one that sees that besides me. Anyways, let's go over how that all works. So if I open Grasm Vaughn's character sheet, let me spread them out a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Go to his character sheet. I don't know where you're going to be. I'll click on core, but you're going to go on that little gear, which is settings, and you can see right here below it, you have roll queries. And right now, most of you guys are probably set to always roll advantage. So I'm going to just start. Always roll advantage is what you normally see. It rolls 2d12, a 2d20 for every kind of thing that goes on. And then down below it, you can see never whisper rolls. That's so we can all see each other's rolls. I think that's pretty cool. But you could roll and just let the DM see whoever. And then I'm going to turn this off. And now you can see auto roll damage is on. I'm going to turn that off. Don't auto roll damage. And then we'll pick our first one called advantage toggle. Now you can see right here above, you can see that it appeared. It says advantage, normal, disadvantage. Now, so what this does is require us to open our character sheet to decide what our rolls are going to be. So right now, he's got a normal roll. So we're going to slide Grasm over. Grasm's going to take a hammer swing. It went in behind, but you can see if I move it, 1d8 fired out. When we look in the chat menu, we have the roll of a 17, just one dice. Now you can see because the auto damage is off, we didn't get damage dice either. So if a 17 hits, you just click on the actual right below 17 where it says Warhammer of Disruption. If I click that, it'll now roll the damage dice. And you can see a couple of them tucked in behind, but it rolled just the amount of dice we need. So in Grasm's case, here I'm going to close this again, and just so we can see it fire. There's the 1d20. We're going to assume that hit. You can see 3d8 went, because in Grasm's case, he does 3d8 because he's got this extra bludgeoning damage based on the function of being a warrior priest. He's got D8, so he rolled a 3 there. He gets a D8 for his like normal weapon attack, so it's 3 plus his strength plus it's a +1 mace. So there you got your 8, and this is a straight roll for spiritual damage based on the weapon, and it's a straight D8, and you rolled a 5. So you can see we have a 3, 2 3s, and a 5, and it all works out over here. All right. So with the damage set that way, if I do a spell attack that does damage, so in Grasm's case, it'll be Toll of Dead. If it's Wiz, it's Fireball, Scott, Eldritch Blast, whatever. When I choose it, you can see Toll of the Dead rolls, and it only rolls the necessary dice for damage. If I have auto rolled, I'll show you. I'll just click that in a second, but you can see Toll of Dead. I have his bludgeoning set. That doesn't account for Toll of Dead, but that's on his character sheet that he can toggle on and off based on his weapon. I think I might mold that into the weapon, but that's neither here nor there. So for the spell he did 2d8. You can see there's 2d8. See there's a 6 and a 4. You can see right here, 6 and a 4. The 2 is the bludgeon damage one. And then you got 2d12s, and he rolled a 1 and a 2. You can see 1 and a 2. So they're not confused. All right. So if I go back under the same thing, advantage toggle, I'm going to do auto roll damage to show you the difference. And then I'm going to do, you would have to open your character sheet with it in the toggle mode. So I'm going to toggle into advantage, close my sheet. If you had a second monitor, you just keep the sheet open on it and just click what you need. Makes it easy. But guys don't want to run a second monitor, so you're looking at the Zoom call, it can be a little bit more confusing. So anyways, we'll start with Toll of Dead. It'll just show you, because we said auto roll damage and crit, see how way more dice, double the dice rolled, because it would have to take into account if it was a critical roll or not, right? So it just fires a whole crap load of dice. Critical rolls don't really count for spells, right? So it's just firing spells that don't have an attack, let's say, when you don't have to hit someone with. So it just fires an extra bunch of dice. So this is where Wiz is like, well, I didn't roll a 1. And he's right. He's right that he's seeing a 1, but it isn't included in the damage because it wasn't one of the 6 for the original damage, let's say, or the, whatever it might be. All right. So then Warhammer Disruption, it's only going to fire so now this is the normal setting that we have. He's got advantage. I toggled advantage, so it blacks the advantage roll. So we got a 13, and then it rolled all the damage. Now, if I kept rolling, maybe I'll get lucky. If it rolls a natural 20, it'll count. It'll do the same thing it always is doing for us. These things work. See, there's a natural 20, so now it included all the extra dice. So you got the 2 plus 4 if it was natural 20, if that, because he has advantage, right? 9 plus 8 plus, so it has all the damage there for you. With the damage, when you turn off the auto roll damage, it would still roll the extra dice if it detects that you rolled a 20. Right, but it won't fire all the extra dice unless you roll a 20. So, but again, that means that you have to click on the particular weapon or whatever to show the attack. So here I'm going to turn that off. Don't roll damage. All right, and I'll put him in disadvantage just for the heck of it. All right, Grasm's going to make a Warhammer Disruption, so he has always roll. He has disadvantage set, so it rolled 2 dice. It's going to keep the 4, so it rolled a 13. Let's assume a 13 hit anyways, and then I click on Warhammer of Disruption. Now it rolled the extra dice, rolled the damage dice, but it didn't roll extra damage dice because it wasn't a natural 20. All right. Next would be, so I think we understand how the don't roll damage or auto roll damage, is auto roll damage and crit or don't roll damage. Don't roll damage, you have to manually press it if it's a weapon that hits. So we're going to go on to query advantage. That means every time it's going to ask you what roll to make. Now, this all works for everything else too. Let's go back. Advantage toggle, we'll leave it on disadvantage. I forgot to show you like a saving throw. It does the same thing. So save, strength, click, roll 2 dice. If it was on, but and it grayed out the, it gave us the, we're at disadvantage, so it gave us the dark 9. No matter what side it's on, the dark one would be the disadvantage. So we'll do the same thing. Open his character sheet. If you had it always open, because you had, so here's an advantage saving throw. Save, strength, with advantage, and it'll black the highest roll. You can see 18, and then character sheet, normal. I'm not running 2 monitors today, plus I want you guys to be able to see me doing this. Click, Warhammer Disruption, only rolled a single dice, got an 11. You can see the 11 is real. 11 plus 4 plus 4 plus 1, because of his proficiency, strength, plus a +1 weapon. It hit. We roll, click on Warhammer damage. Boom, now it does the damage. All right, cool. So the next function is going to be query advantage. So what that means is it's simply going to ask you every time you roll a dice what you want to do. So here I'm going to do a check. I'm going to do a normal check, and then I'm going to pick intimidation. There he goes. That's a normal intimidation, straight intimidation roll, 1 dice. 18, so he only has a +1 to his intimidation, so 18 plus 1, 19, or, no, he has a -1 to intimidation, so there you go. He's not very intimidating. He's a nice fella. So 18. We could do a check of with advantage to religion. Give it a roll. There you go, 23. So 18 plus 5, 23. And it's, you can see that they made the 23 dark, so we know that you had advantage, and that was in the what we rolled. Disadvantage, same thing. We'll do a check. Oop, I didn't want to do that. That's not where I want to be. Somehow I turned on my pan. There we go. Turned it off. See, this is your pointer. You can have pan or pointer. You need to be pointer. So, okay, check. We're gonna do disadvantage. This and row athletics, and then bam, it'll black out our lowest roll. So the 18 would be the roll for athletics. All right, that's how it works with query. And then you have never roll advantage, which is exactly what what it sounds like. It's always just going to roll 1 dice, no matter what. So Warhammer, 1 dice. Roll the 2, then a roll damage. Check, acrobatics, 1 dice. So I could theoretically do a second check, acrobatics, 1 dice. Now for some reason I think on an attack, you can hit just spacebar again, and it'll run a second attack for you, right? But it doesn't do that for things like saving throws. So strength, here I'm going to hit spacebar, nothing happened. But if I do, it seems like an oversight on the programmer's part, but whatever. Warhammer, hang, and then there you go. Remember, all these rolls work the same on the character sheet too, right? So I'm on a character sheet. I can roll whatever I want here if it lights up. So I'm going to go to core. He can make a strength roll by clicking on strength there, clicking on strength here, right? And you can do your attacks the same way. Total of dead as on the sheet, all the above. So I personally think for playing, I think it's cool when it only goes 1 dice, but as the DM playing Grazim Vaughn, I would probably just leave it on always roll advantage. That way I don't have to do the second clicking, choose whether it's advantage, disadvantage. But as a player, I might choose query because I'd be doing it so much less. You know what I mean? Between if it's just one character, right? It's not so bad. But you've probably noticed that. Well, you guys don't have the one. Wiz has probably noticed with this 3D dice on that I fire the monsters. I leave the monsters in normal, and when I have to, I go into their sheet and click them to advantage. And then I leave their damage set to click on the damage when it hits. That way it's firing less dice. But I think I would probably run Grasm as always roll advantage and don't roll damage. That way, so Grasm right here would be making a Warhammer attack. Oh, we decided he's got disadvantage, so he rolled a 1, missed. All right. But if he had hit, I can click on Warhammer of Disruption. I get my 3d8 dice for damage. Or same thing, Toll the Dead. I'm only going to get the proper Toll the Dead damage, except for I have left on this bludgeoning. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All you guys probably have them on your sheet. Depending on your character, if I go to core, you can see down here Grasm has global damage modifiers, right? So when Grasm's fighting, say he's fighting on a dead, which you guys are doing now, if I click on that, now it's going to do, watch, it's going to do a bunch extra damage. So Grasm would swing. He hits. When I hit damage, now it rolled 2d6 plus 3d8, right? Because he gets an extra 2d6 of damage against undead. So you can see he did 4 more because he rolled a 3 and a 2 with the extra 2d6, but that would be his damage. Now, rather than turn things on and off, most of the time he's not fighting undead. So I will just leave his divine energy, which is his bludgeoning, extra. It's a part of being a warrior cleric. I'll just leave it on, knowing that I don't add it to other things, but I can turn it off. See, click it off. Now when the Grasm does his Toll the Dead, it'll just be the raw Toll the Dead dice, right? 2d8, 2d12. Okay. I'm going to turn that back on before I forget. But so if I was playing Grasm as my main character, I would turn these things on and off based on what I was doing. Because I would have time. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to cast Toll the Dead. I know I'm going to do that instead of swing. So I might turn off my divine energy. Or when I know I'm fighting undead, turn it on and off. So you guys will have that too based on who you are. You can see he has Bless, Guiding Strike. That's an ability too that he has. Gives him plus 10 to hit, right? So here, turn on all of it. So now he has all his global attack modifiers and all his global damage modifiers set as on. And when I take Warhammer Disruption, watch this. So he rolled it's a D10 plus a D4 because he has a bless going, and he used his, so it would 18 plus 11 to hit, right? And then when he goes to damage, it'll have all the extra damage built in. 2d6 plus the 3d8. So looks like he rolled crappy, right? 2 plus 2, right? All 2s. He rolled a 2. And he rolled 2. You can see all the dice on the screen are showing 2s. So, all right. Let me go in, turn all that stuff back off or set up like I normally have them. We're going to turn the bless off and the undead thing off. We'll turn it on when we fight undead. Well, there we have it. Talk to you guys later.